Hello friends, so today we are going to discuss what XOR operators are and how to use XOR operators to solve some of the array problems very easily. So XOR operator is nothing but when we do XOR on 1 and 0, it will always give 1. And when we do XOR of 0 and 1, then also it will give 1. When we do XOR of same bits, then it gives 0. Okay, so this is the simple funda of XOR. Now using this, how can we solve some of the array problems? One of the famous array problems that I have come across is that given an array of integers where all elements are repeated twice except one element, we need to find the element which is repeated only once. So let's say we have an array something like this. So here if you see 1, 5 and 2 are repeated twice except for 3. 3 is the only element that is repeated once. So we'll look into it. Before we move to XOR, we'll see how we can solve this using other approaches. First approach is obviously the brute force approach. In the brute force approach, we basically check if an element is present in the rest of the array or not. For example, we start with 1, the current element is 1, and we'll check in the rest of the array if 1 is present or not. If it is present, then it is not our element. Similarly, we'll do it for all the other elements, and eventually when we start at 3 and we scan the rest of the array, we see that 3 is not present, so 3 is our answer. But the disadvantage of this approach is that it will take time complexity of n square since we are using 2 loops. The second approach can be to sort and scan. So if we sort this array, the array becomes 1, 1, 2, 2. So here we see that all similar elements are falling next to each other, right? So both the 1s are together, both the 2s are together, and both the 5s are together, right? So here how to find 3? So if we see that the pair of elements, since they are adjacent to each other, we can sort the array and we can compare adjacent elements. As long as they are same, we can keep a counter for each element, right? And we can move rightwards. So when we come to 3, we see that the next element to 3 is not equal to 3, which is 5, right? So we'll get our answer in this way. So time complexity of this approach will be to sort the array. It will take us n log n, and then we'll do a rightward scan and we'll check adjacent elements whether they are same or not, right? So that will take us order of n. So overall it is going to take us order of n log n. So it is definitely an improvement from brute force approach, but it is still not the optimal approach. It is the suboptimal approach, right? Now the third approach is, again, we can use hashing. So hashing is where we use key value pairs, right, to store the count. So here what we can do is that we can store the count of each integer. So let's say if we maintain a map something like this, so we do a rightward scan. So our key is 1, its current count is 1, right? Then the next element is 5, so it will have the current count 5. Then we encounter 2, we update the count as 1. Then we again encounter 2, right? So the count becomes 2. Then we encounter 3, so count is 1. Then we again encounter 5, so count becomes 2. And then we again encounter 1, so count becomes 2. So at the end of this operation, my map will look something like 1 2, 5 2, 2 2, and 3 1, right? Now we can scan this map and check the element which has count 1, which is 3 in this case. So 3 will be our answer. Now let's observe what will be the time complexity for this, right? So to create the hash map, right, and store the count, we took one scan of the entire array. So that is going to cost us big of n, right? And in the next scan, we are basically scanning the hash map to check which element has count 1, right? So that is also going to take us big of n in worst case, right? So this is overall going to give us big of n complexity. But here the disadvantage or the caveat is that we are using extra space, right? So we are using the hash map. So this is going to cost us big of n. So if you see, the time complexity is definitely an improvement from n square to n log n to n, but in hashing, it is costing us extra space, so it is big of n. So now finally let's look at XOR operation. So using XOR, we can solve this in big of n time complexity without using any extra space, right? So for simplicity, I'll just copy the array again. So my array is 1 1, I'm sorry, 1 5 2 2 3 5 1, right? Now XOR operation, as I mentioned, if we see, same bits XOR to 0 and different bits XOR to 1, right? So here is an interesting fact about XOR. Let's say I give you an integer 2, right? And I ask you to XOR 2 XOR 2. This is by the way the symbol for XOR. Okay, so how do we do a XOR operation on two integers? Okay, so 2 XOR 2 will give me what? So the binary representation of 2 is 1 0 and 1 0, right? So if we XOR it, so 0 XOR 0 is XOR 0, and 1 XOR 0, 1 is 0, right? It will give me 0, correct? We can try it with some other integer as well. Let's say I try it with 3. What will 3 XOR 3 give me? So 3 is 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay, 1 XOR 1 is 0, 1 XOR 1 is 0, 0 dot 0 XOR is 0, correct? So likewise you can try for any integer. So basically the idea is that any integer, let's say it is p, if we XOR it with the same integer, p XOR p will always give me 0, right? And if we extend it a bit more, then p XOR p will always give me p, right? So the idea is that if I XOR the same integer even number of times, I will always get 0. If I XOR the same integer odd number of times, I'll always get the same integer back again. So here, if we simply do a XOR operation on all the elements, scan the array and do a XOR operation on all the elements, so what will eventually happen is that we have 1 5 2 2 3 5 1. So 2 XOR 2 will become 0, 1 XOR 1 will also become 0, and 5 XOR 5 will also become 0. Eventually you'll be left with 3, and that will be your answer. So we'll look into it how we can do this. So we start with 1. So let's say I store I take a variable XOR, initial value is 1, right? So next element a of I, okay? So next element is 5. So my primary operation is going to be XOR equal to XOR and XOR a of I, okay? So let's see what is 5. XOR is 1, right? So 1 0 0, we XOR it with 5, so it becomes, so if we do a XOR of this, 1 1 is 0 0 and 1, okay? So this is my current XOR. Now next a of I becomes 2, okay? So my current XOR is 1 0 0, I XOR it with 2, which is 1 0, binary is 0 1 0, correct? So 0 0 is 0, 0 1 is 1, and 1 1 is 1. Now this is my current XOR, okay? Now my next element is 2 again. So my XOR is 1 1 0, right? So 0 1 0, I do a XOR, 0 0 is 0, 1 1 is 0, and 1 0 is 1. So this is my new XOR, right? 1 0 0. What is my next element? Next element is 3. So 1 0 0, and what is the binary of 3? 0 1 1. We do a XOR, 0 1 is 1, 0 1 is 1, 1 1 is 1. So this is my new XOR now, right? What is my next element? It is 5, correct? So what is my XOR? 1 1 1, element is 5, 1 0 1. Do a XOR, 1 1 is 0, 1 0 is 1, 1 1 is 0. So this is my XOR. Next element, which is the last element, I think, yeah, it is 1. So let's do a XOR. So 0 1 0, XOR it with 1, 0 0 0 0 1. So 0 1 is 1, 1 0 is 1, and 0 0 is 0. So this is the binary representation of 3. So this is my XOR now, and this is my answer as well, since I have scanned all the elements. So if you look at it at a very high level, the thing that has happened here is that all even occurrences have been cancelled to 0, which is 2 2, 1 1, and 5 5, and there is only one element which is left that cannot be further cancelled as per this formula, right? So that ends up being our answer basically. So here if you see this operation, this we are running in a single loop throughout the array, right? So the time complexity of this is going to be definitely big of n, right? And we are not using any extra space. So here we see that how we can apply XOR operations in some of the applications of arrays and in other data structures to solve these kind of problems. Let me know how you feel about the video. Please leave your comments in the comment section, and feel free to share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.